Welcome back to The Fruits, everyone. I am your host, Stacey Nicole Haynes, and today I am joined by a dear friend and colleague, Kathryn Austin. The Fruits is a place where initiates and students of the Modern Mystery School can come together in a casual space and share their perspectives and their experience of what the path of progression in the Modern Mystery School and the lineage of King Solomon has to offer. And so today I am very excited to have you here, my darling. Thank you for joining me.
Thank you for having me, Stacey.
I would love to hear, number one, where are you from? And when did you receive initiation? What led you to this path?
So I'm from Washington, D.C. originally, and then like so many people drawn to Austin, I moved here 2009 for graduate school and fell in love with the city and the people and my husband and made it my home. And I think if I can remember back to around the time of my initiation was January 2019.
Oh, okay.
So during that time, a close friend of mine and yours, Casey Lepper, we were working as psychotherapists and sharing a suite together.
Yeah.
And I think both of us individually and then in our conversations together, we're beginning to just feel limited in our ability to facilitate holistic, lasting, quicker change in our client work. And we're both such dorks that it was not from a lack of conventions or classes or readings. I mean, I think that's a place that will always be a part of our companionship is we're just insatiable in our quest of knowledge and understanding, especially in terms of our ability to help our clients and to create our own lives. Mm-hmm. So even with that level of curiosity and knowledge attainment, we were finding ourselves hitting roadblocks, in our client work. And so we began to really explore spirituality within psychotherapy. And that led her to going to a conference with some of the top dogs in the psychotherapy world.
Yeah.
And they mentioned some of the leaders in human potential. And then that led to the Modern Mystery School.
Wow.
So that's a long story to get there.
It's good though. It's good. I think that it's really important to make that connection between psychotherapy and spirituality. Do you feel like there are, it sounds like, yes, there are limitations within psychotherapy. And then if you include spirituality, that then helps to supersede those limitations.
Yeah, there's just no question. I mean, I haven't sat with a single client who, when I've asked, do you believe that you're mind, body, spirit? Every single one of the clients I've sat with has said yes. But they have much more familiarity with the aspect of them that is body.
Sure.
Right? Most of the clients I work with, they are aware of diet. They are aware of exercise. If you're doing any sort of self-development work, you know that what you eat impacts the way you feel and live. And they were aware of their mind, right? And patterns of personality, mental models based on belief systems created in childhood. And the traditional psychotherapy is really set up to facilitate the discovery and development of that piece. But then when I asked them what they were in terms of spirit, even though they said, yes, I believe I am spirit, the majority of them would kind of just sit in some silence of I have this intuitive belief or inherent belief or cultural belief that yes, there is a part of me that is spirit, but I don't really know what that means. And I haven't spent the time digging into it. And so if I was going to help them navigate that arena, I needed to make sure I was doing that for myself.
Yeah, absolutely. Integrity.
Yeah. Yeah. So that led to then, I think the first thing I did with the Modern Mystery School was like a crystal healing session that was beautiful. And then Casey was like all in right from the beginning. Something in her soul just woke up and was like, yes.
Yeah.
And so then she gave me a life activation. I met Jesus. And then it was bada boom, bada bing. We got to go.
What was that like meeting Jesus?
So cool.
I mean, we have to talk about that.
Also, I say that I recognize that probably maybe for some people listening, you know, that's like, what? And it's like, that was like a what moment for me too. That wasn't like I was chilling with JC on a regular. And then I was like, oh yeah, of course he came in for my life activation. But during the activation, there is a part of it where you are receiving the flow of light and love and wisdom and purification from heavenly realms. And as a person receiving it, you're really just in a meditative state, right?
Sure.
The person around you is facilitating the tool that calls in the magic and power. And during that, your head is bowed in this beautiful position of reverence and receiving. And I had this overwhelming, unquestionable experience that I was in the presence of unconditional love. And it was Jesus. It was Jesus there just with me. And I didn't like necessarily see his body or his face, but I could feel him. And without a huge amount of reference point on my end, obviously I know who Jesus is.
Sure.
But it's not like I was studying the Bible and my Episcopalian upbringing was pretty dormant. But I just knew it was him. And so it was that awakening of like the Christ consciousness within each of us was being activated by an external force that then woke up this wisdom within me that lay dormant until that time. And it was like, what is happening? This is amazing. And oh my gosh, if this is possible in this one moment, like, okay, when's the next class? When's the next program? Because that's part of the piece of like in the trauma work I was doing with clients. How do you help facilitate someone with like deep, deep, deep compassion for themselves and for others when they've been so violated?
Yeah.
Right? So violated by human pain. You're not going to be able to tell someone to do that. Yeah, okay, like from a textbook, it looks like it would be helpful. Sure. But meanwhile, their wounded heart is sitting there across the room from you, looking at you like, would you do this? Would you open yourself up to the possibility of being hurt again? Like, help me. Right? And it was in this moment where I was like, this is the missing piece. It is the connection to something higher than yourself that is unexplainable, but unquestionable, that lives within each of us. And our way to activate it and honor it and devotion to it, so many paths to God, so many paths to self-actualization. But if you really want to overcome wounding in your life, you need to be connected to something higher than yourself.
Yeah.
Otherwise, it just will never make logical sense.
Right.
To get over what you've been through and open yourself up to possibility again. It's just not rational.
Yeah, I got that's a big, I think, key in spirituality is like it's not rational. Like your mind, your human mind cannot understand what's happening. And many times I'll have clients come in and they're like, well, what's going to happen with this session? I'm like, I don't know. It's a surprise for all of us, but I do know that it's going to help you to accelerate your progression in your life across all areas. And that looks so different for every single individual. And it's such a gift, to watch that happen for them and facilitate that process. And also remind them that I'm not your healer, that I'm a facilitator. And the only person doing the healing is the client themselves. So it's really such a gift. I am curious, how have you seen the shifts within your clients? Because I would imagine you're doing, energy work and seeing them for psychotherapy. How much faster are they progressing through things, or is there like some sort of rate that you can see things happening?
Well, so naively, I wanted to believe that like if I was all in and if I was fully in integrity to the best of my ability and I was open to all of this, and like
Surely.
Yeah. And the truth is, like, I think the biggest determination of our ability to engage in rapid and lasting healing is related to the client's openness.
Yeah.
Right. So I've got this arsenal, right, of tools at this point.
Yeah.
Over a decade of mastery of psychotherapy work and ever continuing. At this point, 5+ years of really committed spiritual work, and years before that within yoga and meditation and Episcopalian upbringing. So it's like, man, I've got, and what I believe is like a legion of higher guides and sources that I call in and that are always with each of us, that are ready to go at any moment and do things that are beyond what I could ever imagine, even in my like expanded state now, maybe one day. But you have to give like an opening to that. So there's no question that I've seen for clients who come in with an opening and with a trust. And really so much of the work is like incredible privilege because people trust me, to be there. And I do not minimize that relationship. Like trust is something to be earned. And, and so I understand I'm part of that piece. But once you open yourself up to it, I just started coaching, and the first session with a client who was so open and trusting, we facilitated healing around family wounding that I don't think he ever even imagined would be possible. And it was not from Kathryn.
Yeah.
It was both of us opening ourselves up to the container of transformation and healing that is available at all times to us. And he was literally bawling, saying like, this is a miracle. Like, this is session 1? And I was like, yeah. And the beautiful thing, I didn't go in with intention of like, we're going to do deep family healing work. But when you're both open to it, then you allow what is wanting to flow in. And when you surrender to that with deference and diligence of really making sure it's coming from a higher place and not your ego, which is like an everyday process of every moment process of discernment for me. Like miracles are possible at any moment. It was so extraordinary to bear witness to that experience of being just a channel, a vessel for what was so ready to come into his life, that was holding him at a density that wasn't allowing him to really step into like his sovereignty and fullness in a way that he's really ready to do. And we just held a container open for it, and it rushed in like a waterfall. It's incredible.
Yeah.
right? And that's because of the spiritual work he does, the spiritual work I do, and then the intention of that container being one for healing and empowerment that we are in service to. So extraordinary.
Amazing.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm excited for session 2 for him.
Oh my gosh, me too. Yeah, it will be fun.
Yes. Okay, so we've talked a little bit about how, this path and the tools of this path have really shifted your psychotherapy practice. It's led you into coaching, which congratulations, by the way. So amazing. I feel like every client of yours is so lucky to have you because you are such a pure channel and reflector for them, and there's this beautiful ferocity that you have. Like, you're just so fierce in the way that you love and show and reflect people their blind spots, and that's just like, it's such a gift, in those spaces. And I've done lots of healing work, obviously, facilitate it, and have done some psychotherapy and stuff like that over the years. But I just want to acknowledge your greatness because you are that amazing.
Thank you.
But I'd love to hear more about your personal fruits of how this path has really served you in your own path and your own healing to help you become this exceptional goddess that you are.
Oh, yeah, to remember that we are this at all times, right? Like, that is ultimately, any spiritual path is a path of remembering, right? And that within the lineage teachings in the Modern Mystery School, they really define healing as releasing all that is not true.
Yeah.
Right? Releasing anything that is not of your true, eternal, divine nature.
Right.
And so, man, like, that put a spin into my own life, certainly the work I do with clients. So I am living my dream life, like, on all levels. I have an extraordinary community of people that, like, our connection is beyond the coffee chats and you know what I mean? Like, we're here on a soul's mission to wake up and to offer activation and love and empowerment and healing to anyone who is called to that space, and to do it to the best of our ability. And man, mission alignment relationships just hit a little different. I just hit a little different. So that's a blessing. I am currently a mom of 2 toddlers who are healthy and thriving, and they received the baby blessing, which is in the tradition is a healing offered to babies. It's basically like a baptism within the lineage. That's so beautiful.
Yeah.
Highly recommend. Highly recommend. And so to watch their development from this lens of they are God in action, right? They are the evolving, growing expression of divine love and truth and wisdom, and their unique constellation of it. I'm witnessing, but what a different way to, like, look at your kids.
Sure.
Right?
Yeah.
And within my marriage, which is probably one of the biggest sources of growth for anyone, but to see that as a place of growth for my own becoming and the union created between 2 souls. And then the work that I do, I am so fortunate. And I know I've worked diligently and daily to be able to take advantage of the opportunities presented to me. But my work isn't my work. Like, this is my purpose. This is my mission. So the level of peace that is within my heart every day, no matter the difficulty. Like, I have so many crunchy moments or we're not alive, right? But I lay my head down every night and arise every morning with a sense of peace that is only brought from like living your purpose and knowing that you're here for a reason and having a growing understanding of what that reason is. It's so crazy. It's so crazy. It's so crazy how different your life is.
Yeah.
Like,
it's hard to, I feel like, at least for me, like it's hard to reflect on who I used to be because I'm so far removed from that person. And I know that she existed because here I am today.
Right.
But yeah, I understand what you mean, that it's like, it's such a difference in the way that I live in the world, perceive the world, my relationships, my work, you know, everything is so incredibly different being on this path. And, you know, like you said, there are many other different paths. And I always like, and maybe I've said this before in the podcast, I'm not sure, but the way that I like to describe this path in particular is that it's the bullet train. And when you receive the life activation, you are essentially buying a ticket to get onto the bullet train if you're open.
if you're open, right?
If you choose.
Right.
If you choose, because if there was a train station to your purpose and all these different trains were going to your purpose, they can all take you different routes and ways. They're all going to take you there, but this one is going to be the most accelerated. And so you're just holding on, and it's beautiful. Yeah. There's so many different incredible fruits of this path. And I appreciate all of your gorgeous reflections. Yeah, it's really amazing.
Yeah.
Is there one healing or class or series of classes that you have taken that have been particularly transformational? I mean, I know they're all transformational, but I would love to hear if there's one that maybe a couple that even stick out for you.
So I have this blessing, and we're just going to call it blessing, and I really am beginning to understand more and more that it is in service, but my memory is it's very hard for me to remember exactly what I experienced on the other side of each in particular class or healing. There's no question that I am in this moment of living my purpose and having having connection to eternal peace because of this path and the classes, the healings, the conversations, the frameworks, the experiences. So I think the ones that feel like most top of mind are the ones that I've done recently, and two are sticking out right now. One of them is King Solomon series.
Oh, yeah.
The Auric series.
Mm-hmm. The healing series.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
And I think 7 to 10 sessions, something like that. And I am not the same person that I was.
Totally.
In a very specific time frame, right? Those sessions happen basically weekly. So in 2 months, 2 to 3 months, you go into that healing as one orchestration of self.
Right.
And you come out different, and you're working with the archangels, and it's really, really, really powerful. I worked on healing some core beliefs in that around worthiness and relationship to money, relationship to a sense within myself that I think many of us share of kind of asking permission, to show up.
Yeah.
Layers of that have been released. And it was just incredible. It was an incredible series. So, and significant, right? You get in what you put out. It was a significant amount of time and energy and finances, and you get out a luxury car,
totally.
I think I went in as a maybe like a spiffed up Toyota. You know what I mean? Like cute. There's some cute stuff. I came out like, I really don't know about cars very much, so I'm not sure why I'm
Rolls-Royce,
using this.
baby.
Okay, thanks.
Rolls-Royce. The limited edition,
the
which maybe they're all
limited
limited editions. I don't know. I think they make like just a few, 50,000 or I don't know, 50. I don't know what it is. But no, I would agree. I can definitely see the shift in you since that, because you started that last summer, spring.
Yeah, it was last spring.
Yeah. And there was, I can definitely see what you mean by the shift from the Toyota to the Rolls Royce, because there was almost like this piece of you that was hiding.
Yeah.
And like, I feel like, I don't even know if, I guess you were asking for permission at different times to be seen.
Sure.
But like, she is here and she is ready to be seen and she is ready to serve with like the ultimate fire and ferocity, this phoenix rising from the ashes.
Totally.
Like, I can definitely see a major, major shift in you since that.
And it's really lovely that it's seen on the outside too, because it's certainly felt on the inside.
I see it. I feel it.
Yeah. Yeah, totally. And that also to highlight, like, because I think we do need to break this mentality of like instantaneous gratification.
Oh, totally.
Particularly when it comes to
it's
like
spiritual bypassing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, we're talking about trying to connect more to the eternity that resides within you. Like, maybe give that some time.
A little bit.
You know what I mean?
You know?
Like, maybe in order to get to a place of timelessness, maybe like put in some time.
Love that.
So like, because with that series, it was like that I did that series and then I co-created my own metaphysical holistic program that I use with clients, and the only reason I could bring that in was because I was purified through that healing.
Totally.
And then I had the courage to do a lot of the back end system building work that I had been avoiding or denying or being a brat about. Like, that was gone. And then created the coaching program. And then this year went in being like, I am a coach. Please, Stacy, magnify my external appearance as a goddess by bringing this cherry cola beauty in, and just like stepping into a whole new level. So it's like, I'm probably about almost a year outside of that healing, and then received many other beautiful healings, many from you during the process. But so if you looked at me a month after that healing, you would not see this.
Totally would not.
Right? So if you talked to me a month after and was like, how good was it? Should I do it? I'd be like, I don't know what to tell you other than I feel very different.
Right.
But what the teachers on this path talk about is like, you have to judge by the fruit, and fruit is planted and then grows and then is harvested. So I had the potential to plant different fruit after that healing. You still have to show up and plant the fruit.
Oh yeah, you got to water it.
You got to
make
do
sure
the
it's
work.
getting enough sunlight, fertilize it.
But your ability to plant and what you are capable of planting is expanded every single time you do one of these initiations or healing series, or open yourself up to experiencing some magic. And it's just an extraordinary process. And then the other healing I would really recommend, which I get from you regularly, is the tube of light. It's like such a big name, Interstellar.
The Archangel Michael Interstellar Light Tube.
Just that one. That one is like, and I'm understanding more now too, with when you do purify yourself and you're releasing those lower densities, those places of like fear and pain within yourself that were born out of trauma, served as protection, but now limit you. You are this kind of bright light in a world that has both light and dark, pain and love. And you know, you're kind of like this shining beacon, which is beautiful for the people that are coming to you heart-centered, wanting to arise and awake. but it's also going to pull some negative stuff to you. And so I have been humbled by like the importance of don't just get bright and shiny. Like you also got to warrior up, like warrior up, because the work you do within yourself, first and foremost, is a battle. And
that's the biggest battle we all fight.
Yeah. And so there is darkness that lives within each of us. Greed, selfishness, judgment.
Yeah.
That's darkness.
Yeah.
And so as you get brighter, the contrast with that gets sharper.
Yeah.
And you need to make sure you're also doing things that lean into the warrior spirit of what it means to be a channel of light, a weapon of light. And so that healing particularly feels like one of the most beautiful ways to maintain your light and your work and your love and your mission, and getting a little bit of protection against some of those things that would just be resistance.
Sure.
You know?
Yeah.
So thank you for those
Of
healings.
course. My pleasure. I love that healing.
Yeah.
So great.
Yeah. Yeah.
So great. And it's so powerful.
So powerful.
Yeah. It's amazing. Well, lovely. Thank you. Are there, if somebody was going to come to the school, they've never done anything, what would you recommend as their first step?
Well, I feel like my path was pretty solid. So like come and do a meditation class.
Yeah.
Right? Like I think most people who find themselves drawn to lineage teachings, to paths of progression that are in a more structured, formal, and rigorous manner, which this is. This is a rigorous path. Like this is not your casual, hey, let's hang out in the woods, talk about God, and then go be judgmental to our brother and sister.
Totally.
You know what I mean? Like this is a level of accountability that I had never experienced up until now.
Wow.
And
even in psychotherapy.
Yeah, because the accountability is like bigger than this body and bigger than this lifetime.
Yeah.
It's like I'm now accountable to my soul's mission and my soul as an expression of divinity embodied. Like level of responsibility a little bit higher. It's just like a little bit.
Yeah, quite.
So like this is not the right path for you if you're not in a place where you truly are ready to like take that bullet train. And that bullet train is about you becoming the sovereign of your life, which means completely responsible for the fruit and the joys, and like celebrate that, bask in that, share that, and completely responsible for the dissatisfaction, pain, and suffering in your life. And like, that's a pill a lot of us
It's hard to swallow.
don't want to swallow. But ultimately, like, freedom is not possible without it.
Absolutely.
So coming back, sorry. I would first suggest coming into a meditation class. Like that's something most people are exploring at this point. You should be. You will not be able to live into your actualization without meditation in your life, period.
Totally.
And feel like for me, when I came into that crystal healing class, it was different. It was different than other classes. The room felt different. The intention of the individuals felt different. And like something about that was the taste that I then really wanted to follow and get more of, and trust that like, if this is for you, it will awaken that. And then it's up to you to take action. But I would suggest like, you don't have to come in and commit to something really big right away. Like if that's you, go for it.
Yeah.
Like come in, do and empower thyself.
Yeah.
Right. Get an activation, do the 2-day workshop that Stacy offers, as well as many others. Like drink from the fire hose that is that class. And if that's not your style, or you don't feel quite ready for that, or you're not ready to make that commitment, make a commitment for an evening meditation class.
Yeah. Totally.
And if you're not ready to make that commitment, then you're not ready for the path.
Yeah. Yeah, because this path is for everyone, but not everyone is for this path at that point in their lives. So you really do have to have that very strong internal call and pull to this work, because it is not for the faint of heart. And like you said, there's so much responsibility and personal accountability that an individual has to take on in order to really reap the full benefits that this path has to offer, and to really reap the fruit that this path has to offer.
And the path is showing us what we really are capable of, which is that.
Yeah.
Like 100%. That we are capable of being the king and queen of our life, the sovereign of our life, fully responsible for the creation of our dreams and facilitating love, healing, and empowerment. Everyone is capable of that.
Totally, yeah.
You have to create a life that allows you to do that to the best of your ability. And this path really shows you what that takes. And like, giddy up, like join, let's do this, because we need, warriors in this.
Yeah.
And it's beautiful. And the level of joy and peace on a sustained front is different than I've ever experienced, right? That even in my crunchy days or tough days or frustration days with my kids or whatever, I have access to tapping in to the abundance of the universe and God in a way that I never had before. And it just is able to carry you. It's grace.
Ooh, I love that. It is grace. Well, thank you, my darling. I appreciate you so much for coming in today. And this was lovely to share space with you and hear more about your story and your fruits and your infinite wisdom.
Thank you for having me, Stacy.
All right, everyone, stay tuned. We will be back in a couple of weeks with a new episode. Take care.